So you want to be a more effective ally in the struggle for Black liberation? Before you put that safety pin on your shirt, make sure you sign up for one of these memberships with Safety Pin Box. Sign up for the Premium Safety Pin Box, and you'll receive 3 guided ally tasks in the mail per month. Premium Box members also get exclusive access to the bi-weekly podcast, The Pincast, hosted by Safety Pin Box creators Marissa Jenae Johnson and Leslie Mack. Sign up for the Pin Pals Box with a friend, and you'll receive 2-person guided tasks to do together. Premium and Pin Pals Box members both get exclusive access to a quarterly Think Outside the Box webinar with Leslie and Marissa, featuring special Black women guests. Sign up for the eAlly Box, and you'll get 1 task per month emailed to you. All members get access to the private Safety Pin Box Facebook group, exclusive calls to action, and special free gifts. Every Sunday on Twitter, you can check in with other Safety Pin Box members at the Safety Pin Sunday Check-In hashtag. So if you are serious about being an ally when you put that safety pin on your shirt, take it a step further. Subscribe to a membership at www.safetypinbox.com/subscribe today. Safety Pin Box. Effective, measurable allyship.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Leslie Mack. I'm back. And so Marissa. Say hi, Marissa.
Hey. Hello. Hi.
We are back with our monthly Q&A with questions submitted by our amazing subscribers. And we'll get to those in just a few minutes. But as usual, we have a few housekeeping announcements, general things to say to all of you people.
And we put them in the beginning, so you have to listen to them.
You have to listen to them because we're, again, doing this like white dudes, and you're going to hear our pitch first. So here we go. What do we got going on, Marissa?
Oh, yeah.
You're first.
That's me. Leslie switched we have a very serious coloring system on our Google Docs, and Leslie decided to switch up the game today. So, anyways, but that's neither here nor there. No, so tomorrow is the last day to get your safety pin box for our June box, which is Break Every Chain. And we're talking all about the issue of mass incarceration. This has been kind of a hot topic for people, especially in the last couple of years with, Ava DuVernay's 13th coming out, Michelle Alexander's The New Jim Crow gaining prominence. People are just starting to address some of these issues more and more. And we've got 3 particular tasks that are going to be in this box. One is slavery in your shopping cart. We're going to talk all about how the companies and corporations that you buy from every single week, every single month are participating in prison slave trade. We're going to talk about the new Jim Crow, how Black women are getting wrapped up in mass incarceration. They're often ignored and everything is centered on Black men, but Black women are actually the largest growing demographic of prisoners. And then we're going to finally look at a world without prison. What are the possibilities of abolition of prisons? People don't want to talk about it. There's always this assumption that we need prisons, but a lot of Black organizers and a lot of Black visionaries have actually imagined a world without prisons, without the slavery of Black people via incarceration. And we're going to take a look at some of those possibilities and see how to push abolition in our world. So it's heavy. It's a 3-point punch. So definitely you should sign up and get that. And if you're not premium or a pen pal where you get all 3 tasks, this is a good month to upgrade so you can get all 3 tasks because they're all heavy hitters.
Really, yeah, they're really, really good. So again, tomorrow, last day, make sure you subscribe, safetypinbox.com/subscribe. We also, right now in my house, are boxing up the first batch of Safety Pin Box Kids boxes. I had a few visuals. Since we have cameras, I figured I could show a few things. So first, the box. It's so pretty, you guys.
It's really gorgeous. Oh, we went green.
Oh, wait.
Your screen went like green.
I must have covered the light or something. Oh, I went too close to it. Here we go. That's better. All right, so here's the box. It's super cool. And so the boxes are a little bigger than our regular boxes because the booklets are also a little bit larger, and they're this size, so they're double the size of our regular booklets. And they are bound, as you can see, and this is the parent guide and goes through a whole bunch of different stuff for them. But I do want to show one of the coloring book pages because they turned out so beautiful. And so each of the weeks, there's one of these great coloring book pages. They're really, really great.
Shout out to Lana, who was our illustrator. You can
the only other page I wanted to show was kind of just this little rundown of all the stuff that comes in for each week. The kids and the parents, they get to have a parent talk. They have a task that they learn together. They have dinner conversations. They also have, they get to talk about art and reflective questions, and then of course the coloring book pages. So it's really comprehensive. It's really amazing content for parents to do with their kids. And you can still buy this particular item if you buy by the end of June 30th. The next batch goes out July 10th. So you'd still have a full 8 weeks of summertime to do this work with your children if you haven't already gotten it. So check that out, safetypinbox.com/kids.
Hey, and also starting sales today. People have been asking for it. We finally created group content. Now you don't have to bootleg our content and steal from Black women. You can actually purchase the group option. No, I mean, part of it, DB Delgado has been a part of these conversations happening, that there are so many white anti-racist groups out there, and they are highly ineffective. They are, for the most part, very useless. And don't have a lot of sense of guidance or direction or really foundation. There's a lot of principles that people are missing. And that's why we haven't seen effective white anti-racist organizing in response to all of the things that we're dealing with. So one of the things that we did was we took SPB principles and SPB content and formatted it for a group setting for you to really get an effective foundation. And we're recommending this both for groups that are just starting up, for people who want to start working on stuff together, but especially for groups that have already existed for a while and who are actually ready to get serious about doing some work, who are having a soul-searching moment, come to Jesus moment, and recognize that they want to do better and to be better. It's super great. We have two different options. We have a basic option and a comprehensive option. The basic option is 6 weeks and the comprehensive is 12 weeks. They include lesson plans from us, content from us. The comprehensive package includes our Ultimate Ally Glossary for all the members in your group, which has been really popular. Also includes a one-on-one personal check-in with SPB team. So you want to ask us shit, or you want us to give you feedback on something, you have us for an hour to check in partway during the series. It's really exceptional, and the pricing is less than what you would pay to go to a workshop or to go hear somebody speak per session. So I think it's really effective. It's going to get you jumping into examining power, examining whiteness, learning about the foundations of this country, the foundations of race, how race operates in this world, for people who don't have it. And it'll get everybody in your group all on the same page and ready to really start being effective. So that goes on sale today, and we're doing the first round of sales this month. And we're going to batch them. We'll be releasing this every couple of months so we can really take groups through the whole series. And this first summer series that we're doing, we're only going to have 10 groups. So if you and your group want to do it, you need to get in. Yeah, because we're doing 10 and then that's it.
And that's it. Yeah, it's really great because not only do people get content that they get to do individually, but you get to come back together as a group and work through, have group discussion questions. We give you a lesson plan for the meeting and some tools to use during the meetings as well to make them effective. And we really are looking to, as Marissa said, just kind of raise that bar once again when it comes to anti-racism work, and this time for groups. So check that out.
We do all the work for you. You just have to do the work.
Oh, and pay us. Don't forget that part.
Yeah, that piece.
So safetypinbox.com/groups. You can check that out. It's on sale right now. All the details are there, all the different packages and everything. And finally, this is breaking news right here. First time we've said it like anywhere out loud. Safety Pinbox Live is officially coming to a city near you. It's very exciting.
We don't do enough things, so why not?
We don't, so why not? So yeah, so we're going to be in Charlotte, North Carolina in August. And then in September, we'll be in Houston and Seattle. So those are the first 3 cities that we'll be hitting up. We're very excited about it. It's going to be kind of dope. There's 2 nights that we'll be doing. The first is more of a workshop format for white allies, where we really talk about the Safety Pinbox method and why we need to have white people being better allies and how we go about moving people from education to action. And the second is a little more intimate setting. We were calling it an evening with Safety Pin Box. And a dope Black woman, local Black woman organizer, is going to moderate a little intimate conversation with me and Marissa. So we're really excited about it. It's going to be really cool. We'll be announcing more details as they come very soon, actually. And we have some very, very cool Black women organizers that are going to be moderating for us in those cities. So we're really excited about that. If you want to stay in touch, make sure you join our newsletter, and that'll be safetypinbox.com/SCB Live. Actually, there's already a coming soon page there, so you can check that out. Okay, I think that's all of the housekeeping that we had, a mouthful of all those things. And so we have our questions this month. And again, these are questions submitted by our subscribers in our closed Facebook group, where a lot of really dope anti-racism work has been going on, a lot of great discussions around lots of different things. And one of the perks of being a subscriber is you get to ask us some questions each month. And let's go. I think you're up first, Marissa.
Okay, first question. What have been some of your biggest setbacks as organizers? How did you overcome them? Well, I'm writing a whole ass book about this, so right now. So I'll be limited maybe in my response to say. I
have a longer response if you.
So good. I'll be limited, and then Leslie will be longer.
Yeah.
Biggest setbacks for me is just the lack of autonomy in the work. There's so many pressures from so many people around you to be a certain thing, to perform a certain thing. This is from white people. These are from people you're in your community, right? There's a lot of, at least for me in the public eye, there's just a lot of pressure. It's hard to decide whether you're doing something because you want to do it and you feel it's right, or you're doing something in a specific way because people want you to, and you're scared of the ramifications of stepping outside of the box of what people expect you to be. And especially like in our communities, there's everything is really emotional, and people are really traumatized, that particularly once you fill a certain role for people, they expect you to be that role and to be that person and to fill that space for them everywhere and always. And maybe you even want to, but you can't. And so, yeah, the biggest setbacks for me have always been somehow tied to people not letting me have autonomy over myself, my physical body, my time, and the work that I want to do and who I choose to do it with. This question put me in mind of a couple of conversations I've been having recently, my general frustration about the disposable nature of organizing for Black lives specifically. And I have found myself over the last couple of years sort of in this mode of crisis management, specifically when it comes to young Black women organizers who have taken extraordinary steps to fight for their own and collective liberation. And, other people get to see the benefit of their work, and the women themselves are kind of left in this place of as close to abandonment as one can be abandoned, in terms of the negative energy that comes towards them in the aftermath of these large things. And I could name probably 10 women right now off the top of my head. I just spoke with one this afternoon who's literally going through it right now. And so for me, the biggest thing, especially yourself included, of course, Marissa, for me, as somebody who is older, I started doing this work, and I made very clear, it was clear to myself that my goals were to support young Black women doing this work. That was kind of that's where I see my personal calling. And so for me, I think that the biggest setback is that truth of, we as women become disposable in this work very quickly. And I don't think we've ever overcome them. And I don't think it's even something unique to this generation. I've spoken to Zahara Simmons from SNCC before, and she said the same things to me about how, there's no pension for civil rights work, that kind of nature. And one of the things that we talked about, Marissa and I, all the time with our Black Women Being program, and also about ourselves and what we want for ourselves, is that we're not trying to go out like that. We want to reap the benefits of the work that we do and do good in the world at the same time. And so I don't know if we've overcome those things, but I know that for me, it's kind of
been a push for me to just make sure I'm making myself available to those women and talking to them and making sure that I'm addressing the needs that they have and speaking with them. And so, when you see somebody in your local area that does some really amazing action that you're moved by, you take a second and think about how they're affected in the aftermath, how it feels to get hate mail, how it feels to have your family harassed, how it feels to have to lose your actual faith. Your church will cast you out. There's so many of those things that have happened to so many people. Lena K. Garner talks all the time about how when she started doing this work, she went from, in her own church, she went from being Lena to being Black Lives Matter Lena. And she wasn't even able to cross the threshold anymore without, the place she was going for spiritual sustenance had become a place where people wanted to argue with her, had become a place where people felt like they had the right to attack her and confront her. And so I just implore people to think about that. This work is hard enough as it is. And the more that we can all do to make it easier for those doing it, the better off we all will be. So that's my long story short on that answer.
Could have had a trigger warning.
Sorry. Sorry. The thing about that, Marissa, is it's a trigger warning for you, and I wasn't even talking about you.
Right.
Right. That's the thing there, is that it's such a it's become a trope. And when I say I can name names, it's like I was just going down the list the other day. I was talking to somebody and I was like, this woman and this woman and this one. I named like 7 immediately that I had, been consistently in contact with. And it's disheartening. It makes me sad. And it is triggering. It's very, I get very emotional about it because these sacrifices don't need to be as large as they are. And so often our gender is what allows it to be.
Yeah, there's a lot of mamming and a lot of pressure to do that. I mean, that's how I feel like that's how our responses are kind of complementary from our different spaces. Is that I feel like people not allowing me autonomy gave way to a lot of that. In that people expected me to mammy for them, and then when I wouldn't perform what they wanted me to do or how they wanted me to be, people were either insistent on forcing me into that box or were done with me. That's been pretty much my overall experience in general. So it's been good to do Safety Pin Box because it's one place where I'm able to have a little bit of agency, I feel like, in the work that I do. But yeah, that's hella real because, shit happens and people our attention spans are so short and people move on really fast. Especially as somebody who's like probably been under the kind of media scrutiny that very few people will ever be under. It's like it happens and it comes in like a tornado and it's really traumatic, and then it's like it's gone and everybody else is too. And I've been thinking about this a lot, especially with there's a whole generation of us who were radicalized during the Ferguson uprising. You know what I mean? And the people who are organizing, who are on the front lines now, most of them are all very different people. Those of us who were radicalized during the Ferguson uprising, most of us are just trying to keep it together, to pick up the pieces. And for the most part, people have really moved on from what we've experienced, even though we haven't.
Right.
And so figuring out how to process that and how to talk about that in a world that moves so fast with social media, where everybody's already moved on and the political landscape is changing so fast, is really,
Yeah. To me, that's the biggest setback. And I think it's what stops people from being organizers longer. And it also just it recreates such harmful cycles in organizing. And so, it's not something we can really overcome. I mean, we have to really change the world literally in order to do it. So I'm working on that. All right. Next question. What do you think about the focus on electoral organizing? Are there times when it's helpful, not helpful, for us to put our time, energy, and resources toward electing particular candidates? Well, I will say that my very first organizing I ever did was legislative organizing. And I did a lot of like bail reform and jail reform and lots of that kind of stuff, lobbying and, getting things on ballots and stuff like that in New Jersey. And, for me, it was a great place to start my organizing because it's one of those types of organizing where wins are very clear cut and easy to quantify. And so it was easy to like build up my confidence and build up my skill sets and feel like I got some wins under my sails and, I could keep going. So in that regard, I thought it was worthwhile. However, it also became very clear to me that it wasn't very effective when it comes to actually creating specific change. I personally, I'm very big on local elections, and I think that they're very important to our municipalities and to the way that our communities are governed. And I don't just mean like mayor or governor, I mean like school board and city council and aldermen and sheriffs and all of those kinds of things. So I think organizing at that level is useful. And if there's a candidate that it feels strongly about, or if there's a candidate they're going up against that will be supremely harmful to especially marginalized communities, and I think that's important. The higher level shit, I don't really have much to say about that as far as time and energy. So that's my take on that. What about you, Marissa?
Yeah, so
I'm drinking grape soda, just so everybody's aware. It's very good.
Ooh, I don't like grape soda. Don't tell anybody.
You're fired.
I also don't like spicy food, but that's a different conversation. I will still crack jokes about white people not liking spicy food, though. Which is really only true for northern white people, because in Louisiana it's like they don't. Anyways, that's aside. But yeah. I'm not really that invested in cannabis. But
you did step up and you did support Nikki. So could you? I was surprised by that. So maybe talk a little bit about you deciding to jump into that.
Yeah. So for the most part, I feel like politics is just like it is a whole game, and it's all about. A lot of it is just about money. Not that I don't think people can make strides. It's not where I see the place to make most effective change is for proactively supporting a particular candidate. But what I have used in my work, what I have used politics and local and national politics as a platform, because you can communicate a lot of shit via those platforms. So, like going up and confronting Bernie Sanders, like I don't give a fuck about the presidential election or even Bernie Sanders. So, which was the whole gag, but what it was an ability to put out a certain agenda and put out a certain conversation, because a lot of people pay attention to politics. A lot of people pay attention to the presidential election. So in that way, I think it's really useful. I've also been successful with other people, but when you are able to make politicians look really, really bad in the public sphere, you can make them do what you want. And for people who are marginalized, that's like some of the only power that we have, right, is to create social pressure and change public opinion around things. And so I don't think it's bad to advocate for a specific candidate. I just think the conditions during election time and the conditions once somebody's elected are very, very different. I think during election time is a good time to pressure people, to push them as far as you can. You know what I mean? Like so many people with the Bernie thing were like, oh, well, just wait till he gets elected and then you can talk about what you want to do. It's like, then you have no leverage. You have to push people beforehand, right? Especially, I think, beyond just supporting candidates that you like or are in favor of, think about the candidates that you don't like and how can you push them, or that you're ambivalent about or whatever. How can you make them take a stance in elections that they wouldn't normally take once they're already elected, because there wouldn't be public pressure to do so. I know in Seattle, there's been a lot of headway that's been made just by shutting down city council meetings. And then the city council will literally vote to give $600,000 to youth intervention programs and to delay the building of a new youth jail. Mm-hmm. That a lot of, there was a lot of mainstream organizing that happened before that went largely ignored. But once you shut down a city council meeting, you yell in a politician's face publicly, you call them fascist pig, all things I've done, there's pictures and video, then they go for the less radical option, and right. they'll go and like actually entertain those other things. I am supporting Nikita Oliver for mayor in Seattle because I do think it's a combination of both. I do think that her candidacy means a lot of good things for Seattle and that she has a potential to do a lot of really good work. I also know that if Nikita was elected, she'd be stuck in a system that was on some fuck shit and would, likely do some fuck shit to exist or get ousted. Yeah. But what I'm more excited about for her campaign, because I don't know if she'll win or not, is I'm excited about her campaign as a platform, right? So many more people, both locally and nationally, now are having to entertain the ideas and the politics that she's talking about and that she's standing for. And a lot of, if you look historically throughout different Black liberation movements, like a lot of really radical Black folks have treated campaigns like this. Like they don't necessarily, like even they'll run without necessarily believing that they're going to win or whatever, but they'll run or they'll create a party as a way to educate people, as a way to get their politics out there, right? Particularly to working class folks. So, I mean, I think for me, it's most effective as a platform to do political education. I think there are other ways. And then I think pressuring politicians and making them look bad in public can shift votes potentially. But unfortunately, a lot of stuff is already bought and paid for behind closed doors before we ever
even come into the picture. Very true. I saw the other day in Philadelphia, there's the first political action committee that is made up entirely of formerly incarcerated citizens. And they have like this whole platform about, welcoming communities, welcoming people back from being incarcerated and a bunch of other things. I just thought it was really dope that to see them organizing at that level. And I know a lot of work had been done locally to even bring folks together and to provide programs. We know recidivism is linked directly to community engagement in such a huge way. So not that the government would ever actually do those things, but in organizing, we know that to be a truth. So I thought that was really dope. And another way that, again, that political engagement can, in communities.
And maybe they win, but also while in the process, right, or whatever, they're educating people about their platform, right, and converting more people to their side. So in that way, I think it's a win.
Mm-hmm. You're up next.
Okay, is it ever okay to criticize Black people for saying things like Sheriff David Clarke is a role model? No. Like you could think it, but you should just. I would say 10 times out of 9, you should just walk away.
Yeah, and also just tell yourself he's a role model, but the question is a role model for who, right?
Yeah, I've seen. Also, I mean, it's going to be a bad look regardless for you. Like, it doesn't matter. Even if Black people agree with you, once they see you saying shit, they're going to be like, whoa, no, but fuck you. And also, you might not have context. So one of the things that I've seen before in the Pink Collective is somebody was like, Black people said that they really, I heard some Black people saying that Ben Carson was a role model, and how could they think of that? Well, if you don't understand that, you don't actually know the history of Ben Carson, like where he raised up from. Like Ben Carson hasn't always been this Ben Carson to a lot of Black folks. He's actually done a lot of stuff for Black folks before his more recent years, where he actually was a role model for,
he made a whole ass movie about Ben Carson before any of this stuff, y'all. So
has talked about this. And so in that situation, you're taking your more recent knowledge and you're applying it, and you're being like, you're thinking that these people, you just don't have the context, and that's gonna, or the breadth, right? And so I would say, yeah, just don't do that. I would say what you can talk about is, I think we can have conversations. It's better to have conversations around like actual political disagreements are better than just like what you said is wrong, or I don't like what you said is wrong. So, if Black person is like, Sheriff David Clarke is a role model, what's not cool is to be like, well, you're dumb and here's why. That's probably not going to go over well. Even if you see a bunch of other Black women saying you're dumb and here's why. But what could be useful dialogue is to say, you know, I don't feel like his stance on immigration is useful, you know, or helpful to Black folks, or, you know what I mean? Like, to really have it be an actual political discourse, because I don't want to say that you can never politically disagree with a Black person, because there's a lot of people with fuck shit politics. But you can't be out here calling nobody coons.
Yeah, just leave that to us. All right, next question. Yeah, I upgraded to a premium membership this month and looked through the welcome packet for the physical box. I want to revisit the idea of a scholarship fund being created for white folks in need that want to engage in anti-racism work for Safety Pin Box. Has anything been done toward this goal within the Pin Collective? Mm. 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 Anyways. No, what has been done in the Pink Collective which was pretty amazing, was a bunch of our subscribers took up a collection to offer the Safety Pin Box kids boxes to Black women, Black moms, and Black families. And it was pretty amazing and beautiful. And I thought it was really just a spectacular effort on their part. They did all the work. It was great.
I would say we don't need to be investing any funds in the white people. Like, if you're going to buy a subscription for a white person, you should just give that whole $100 to a Black person instead. Because white folks need to have actual physical buy-in. People aren't going to like this, but white folks need to have actual physical buy-in into our struggle to be useful at all. And I'm connected to some really radical Black folks, and they would say, honestly, like, what do we need white folks without money for? Because a lot of what we're dealing with is about resources and power. But with that, I'll say that I think somebody who wants to be an ally but who doesn't have money for a subscription will come through and support regardless. You know what I mean? Like, those people are already supporting what we do. And we put out a bunch of free content. But I mean,
we have tons of free content. You can go to just go to our website and go to the STD free page. And also the other thing that we have found, and it's been, you know, one day we'll do a whole Q&A just about the lessons we've learned about white people doing Safety Pin Box, because there's been some nuance to whiteness that I hadn't really encountered before, because I haven't had this type of very specific like business owner and customer relationship with just massive amounts of white people like we do right now. And one of the things that's been really interesting is the fact that it's clear that white people don't really value things that they don't pay for. Like that paying for them is what gives it the value to them. And it was a really big surprise to me. So
when we first launched, there was a bunch of like, well, what if some people can't afford it? And there were actually early subscribers that we had that publicly promoted, hey, if anybody wants to do this, I'll pay for your subscription.
Yep.
And it was fucking cricket.
No tip.
I think people need to like be more comfortable with the fact, which they're also learning in the Pin Collective. It's like, they had a lot of soul searching this week. White people really don't give a fuck. And like, people are learning that. Like, they just don't care. If you don't have money, there's so much free content for you to go through, for you to stay up, you know what I mean, to stay connected. I think it's just bad to reinvest in white folks at any level.
Mm-hmm. The next question actually is the opposite question almost, which is really interesting. But also, well, anyways, you read it. This will be interesting for us.
Is it helpful to create a simple get involved with the anti-racism work 101 list, or just a compilation of recommended online content that already exists for those who can contribute 5 to 10 to the Black Women Being Fund every month, or just once, even if it's just a list of Marissa and Leslie's tweets and writing? So part of what we give, I kind of have, Leslie, do you have a?
No, I wanted you to answer this one.
Okay. So this is, also connected. Y'all just need to get with the fact that like white people don't give a fuck. Like there's all these like imaginary impediments to white people learning. There's not. Literally, white folks have the most access resources on the planet. Like, how are we gonna, like, Black women do like ridiculous things with no resources, no access, constant misogynoir, but like we're like some child trying to fashion in our braids that's really hard for white people to engage, when the reality is like white folks just honestly don't care. And we gotta reckon with that, first. Then the other thing is, with in terms of safety pin box, what we get paid for is curation. And it's not that we're creating something brand new, right? We've done the readings. We didn't wake up out of the womb, knowing certain things. That's not how it happened. We've done the readings. We stay up on the latest news every day. If you ask me and Leslie what happened today with Black folks, we're going to be able to tell you if any major things passed, if any major events happen. We're going to tell you what organizers are connected in that city. Like we do the work. And part of the reason why people didn't want to pay us when we first started putting up a paywall, when we started Safety Pin Box, is they're used to getting this free work from people for free. Because folks have told Black folks, like, you have to educate us in order for this to change. And so, I mean, I personally don't think in any way, shape, or form that we need to like lower the bar, or I think accessibility around disability makes more sense. But accessibility in general, like if somebody's not dedicated to this work or trying to figure out how to get more plugged in, it's not because they somehow don't have access. There's more access than there ever was in the world. Those 101 lists, they exist all over the place. In terms of the contributions of who can contribute $5 to $10 to the Black Women Being Fund, I talked about this when we launched Safety Pin Box Kids. If we put up a fundraiser, it may get a few donations, right, or whatever, but people be like, oh, I don't have money for that. You put out Safety Pin Box Kids, everybody's got $60. Hundreds of people have $60 all of a sudden. 60, 75, 80, $100. Everybody got money because now it's something that they want, right? Like there's this idea that people don't have capital. I've even told friends, and you guys should try this experiment on your own. I've told friends, we've had gatherings where friends have been like, hey, we're going to provide all the food, just bring a few dollars for Black women being. And people don't. These are people that I'm friends with. Like, personal friends with. These are people that I went to church with. These are people that I know. And niggas will spend $200, $250 on concert tickets and be like, Marissa, let's go to a concert. And won't ever give money to Black women being. So I think we just really have to reckon with the reality of, which is part of our business model, what do you do when most white people don't care? And for us, it's about, in that case, redirect resources to Black folks and only focus on the people who are ready to work. Yeah. Because the thing is for people who are ready to work, once they hear about Safety Pin Box, it's like, no questions asked. Sign me up. We're here. We're in it. Like, it's there for people who are ready and who are really ready to engage. And it'll be here for when people are ready to engage, but it's not a good investment of resources, in my opinion, to like try to lower the bar or reach down, because we have to acknowledge that a lot of those people really just don't care, if we're being honest.
Yeah. For me too, I think there's the way the question struck me was, I don't know any other businesses where people make suggestions that they should like lower their pricing and repackage the stuff that we're already doing to be accessible to other people. It's been interesting. We've had so many questions that come in from our subscribers about this, and maybe there's a question later that asks us to answer the questions from the Black Women Being profiles. But changing white people with our subscribers, what's the one thing we wish our subscribers would do and what we wish they would stop doing. And this is what I wish y'all will stop doing. We are business owners. We're very smart women, both of us. We offer very specific products. There's a lot of them. There are plenty of things to choose from. You can even do stuff for free.
So much stuff for free.
We don't need additional suggestions as to what our business should be offering to people. I don't understand it. I think that we've done a really good job of being very reactive to the needs that people have expressed to us consistently and creating products to address those needs. People wanted kids content. Here it comes. People wanted to do stuff in groups. Hey, we have that now too. There's more that's going to be coming out. I don't even want to talk about more of the stuff, but trust me when I tell you that we evaluate all of the things, and so far, we've been pretty good at this shit. So
right. Sorry, I just want to point out both of these questions both center white people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and we're trying to help y'all. We want a space for y'all to work through your shit, but like, if your question is wholly centering benefiting white folks and what white folks need, you're making some assumptions about what educating white folks will do materially for Black and marginalized folks. And I just had a conversation with my roommate earlier. 10 times out of 9, it does nothing. Even if your friend changes their racist belief, that doesn't mean that they're going to do anything to change my material conditions. Doesn't mean they're going to intervene when the police are accosting me. Doesn't mean any of those things. Maybe not.
Probably not. All right. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that way is like, ask us ally questions and we'll handle the safety pin box stuff. Okay. So there's a debate about whether white folk should call in white folks who make aggressions rather than call out. Obviously, there's never 100% the answer, but what do y'all think in general? I think there's absolutely no difference between calling in and calling out. I think that this whole nomenclature around it has gotten to be like some weird brand, like it's just cool buzzwords that people like to say right now. When you call people on their shit, you don't need to do in or out. You're just calling them on their shit. You just do it with integrity and humanity, and that's it. It's very simple. Like, this shit is not really like, look, we all in our everyday lives have to call people on their shit, right? We have to talk to our sisters when they step out of pocket. We have to, talk to our little cousins when they ain't acting right. Like, this is nothing new in the world. We know that interpersonal relationships are about having conversations when shit goes left. So this notion of having to have some sort of specific way to talk to white people about their fuck shitness, I just don't understand it. Also, clearly, whatever y'all have been doing hasn't worked. So what difference does it make what it's called? That's all I have to say about that. I'm so sick of that. That question irritates me so much. I'm sorry to whoever asked it, but just call in, call out, call over, call under, just call in. I don't care. Anyways, what you got?
No, the only thing that I would say, part of my conversation with my roommate earlier is, so Leslie sent me this really fuck shit link.
I kind of just troll her all day, actually. You guys don't know it.
Okay, and Leslie's on East Coast time, and I'm on West Coast time. So this bitch wakes up with a bunch of emails, links. Leslie tagged you in 5 posts. And so I'm waking up to fuck shit and then by the time it's lunchtime, Leslie's like, I'm done, don't talk to me. So the struggles of being bi-coastal.
Bi-coastal, that's right.
So Leslie sends me this link to a thing called a White Allied Toolkit, whitealliedtoolkit.com. You have to go read it. I can't, but one of the things that they say there is that we just need to be kinder to people, and that empathy is the way, just empathizing with racists, validating their feelings, and then maybe trying to reason with them is the way to solve race issues. And it led to a very long and extended conversation that I had with my white roommate today. And the point of that is, it's actually not true. Empathy doesn't get you really very far at all. What does change people's behaviors is making something so taboo that it has social consequences, right? So, for instance, Mothers Against Drunk Driving was really, really impactful. They were impactful not only in legislation, but what they're impactful for in the marketing campaign, and the same thing around smoking too, with the truth.org campaigns, is that they made drunk driving and smoking tobacco really, really socially acceptable, right? It wasn't that people thought, oh, drunk driving is bad. Like, people knew drunk driving was bad before. What happened was that now if you're going to go drinking and you're going to start driving, now your friends are going to look at you sideways. Leslie, are you still there? Okay, sorry, I lost your video. People now, if you're gonna go drunk driving, now your friends are gonna look at you like, dude, bruh, no, that's whack. The things are starting to change around rape culture, right? Like, there was an article today that I shared about what's her name, Mary Letourneau.
Oh God.
What was her name in Seattle?
Mary Kay.
Yeah, or whatever. And people.com said, oh, she's breaking up with. They're breaking up after having this relationship since he was 12. No one would ever print that now, right? Because in the 90s, you were able to call this a taboo relationship. Now we would call it pretty universally having a relationship with a 12-year-old rape. because it's socially taboo, right? And so one of the things that I think you can do that you do need to get around is like, don't sugarcoat things. What it needs to happen in your friends group is it needs to be socially taboo to call the cops on Black people in your neighborhood. It needs to be that if your friends found out that you called the cops on a Black person in your neighborhood, that your kid wouldn't get invited to their birthday parties anymore. If we're going to talk about any way that people could have actually had any effect on the presidential election or its outcomes, people are talking about, we need to have these Thanksgiving conversations. Cool, your conversation is cute, but how would the consequences for having racist beliefs change if grandparents knew they're not going to see their grandkids if they're homophobic and they're racist? You're just not a safe person to be around my kids anymore. That's actually flexing, right? Some social pressures, but don't nobody want to say, Grandma, you can't come around because you're racist.
Right.
Right. But if your grandmother, if grandma was driving drunk with the kids, right, or doing something else dangerous. So I say all that to say that I think talking about racism is really serious. It's really dangerous. Talking about white supremacy as insidious and attaching social consequences to it. It doesn't matter whether people think it's right or wrong, but they'll stop doing it because they don't want to have the social consequences.
Facts.
That's how most people change their behavior, is because of who they're around. And if you're part of a group of people, part of the thing that's been really impactful for our subscribers, why they're like, man, we're getting so much out of particularly the Facebook group, is now they're connected to other people where they're in a friend group through the PIN Collective, where the social consequences are much higher than in their normal interactions with white folks.
Mm-hmm.
So in their normal interactions with white folks in the world or in Surge, a lot of fuck shit will come up, but it's actually people toe the line really well in the PIN Collective because they know the social repercussions in that space for saying fuck shit is much higher because of who you're around.
And to be honest, they know we'll drag them. Like, we even say it in our FAQs. Like, I one of the things about the PIN Collective that I have, like, it's almost given me a little bit of, like, hope in white people. I say almost because I really don't have much hope, but
there's very little.
It has given me an understanding of, like, there is a way where white folks can understand their impact on the world in a different way. And I would say it's been an unexpected byproduct of the work that we've been doing. And it's been nice. I mean, it really, if you are not a subscriber, if you've been looking for a community of anti-racist white people to connect with and to do some really deep work with that has direct impact in your everyday life and in the everyday life of the marginalized people that you can affect directly, this is where you need to be. So That's what I'll say about that. I think the next one is yours.
What's the upcoming segment on The Daily Show? Yes, bitches, you heard it right. We filmed a segment with The Daily Show with Trevor Noah. Come through. Yes. Is there anything the PIN Collective needs to do to support, prepare to anything?
Yes.
Oh, I do have something really. You might have a different one. One thing I'll say, because I've been in the public eye quite a few times, logged on Twitter, seen a bunch of people that I follow that don't follow me talking about me. It's a very interesting phenomenon because I don't have a high follower.
See, here's the thing. I'm going to mention this too, since you called me out earlier. This is the thing Marissa does, is she finds random people in corners of social media platforms that are talking about us and our business and ourselves even. And she'll be like, look at this one over here. And then that's what I wake up to because she's working later than I am.
It's okay. And then Leslie sticks her Twitter follower on it. We have a symbiotic relationship here.
It works very well.
But one thing that I would say, because this has happened a few times to me with the Bernie situation, again with Safety Pin Box, shout out to Lee Fang. One thing that I discourage people who care about me, support my work to do, is to spend time invested in fighting trolls.
No, don't feed the trolls.
Please don't. That's like such a waste of energy. There's going to be, me and Leslie did not hold back on our segment. More likely than not, like, white folks are going to be
so mad.
Just be ready for it. People are going to be calling us all kinds of anything but the child of God. There's going to be death threats. They're par for the course for us, sadly, unfortunately. But the best way that you can support us is to, instead of fighting those trolls, combat that messaging with your own experience of SPB and the work that we do, right? So if Leslie and Marissa Suck starts trending, which is all entirely
Could happen. No, why'd you put that out there? Don't give them the hashtag.
Oh, I've got way better hashtags. I almost said one right now.
Don't do it.
You know, I'm good with the branding. I can even brand my own trolling hashtag. If that happens, like the best thing that you can do is start a counter hashtag of positive, like put the positive stuff out there, because it's really not useful for any of us, you know, for you to go fighting with some random dude living in his mom's basement who's like trolling. Like that's not useful at all. The best thing you can do is support, share your testimony, preach the gospel of SPB, and yeah, just promote, share, and welcome the discourse, because we welcome it. Even amongst the hate, we welcome the discourse, because we know it's all the cost of doing business.
Yeah, for sure. So the only thing I'd mention, and you'll see our awesome social media and PIN Collective engagement specialist, Asa. She'll be doing some work around this, but we are encouraging people to host watch parties, or at least watch with us live when the show airs, and we'll know in the next couple of weeks the exact date and everything. Shout out to Roy Wood Jr. And so yeah, we're encouraging folks to have watch parties and do fun things like that, and just support us and watch us and share the Safety Pin Box love. We're very excited about it. I think it's going to be, yes, people will hate us, but if you like us, you'll laugh a lot. I think it's going to be really funny.
Yeah, and that's the only other thing that I think our subscribers are kind of waking up to, but people who support us in general, like, if you're going to ride with me and Leslie, that means you're going to celebrate our wins, which is dope. But it means you're also going to be privy to our shit, and you need to be prepared for how that's going to emotionally affect you. Everybody in our world, like, just be prepared for it. The shit will come, and figure out how we're going to keep it pushing.
Mm-hmm. So this is the question I mentioned earlier. I love the Black women being profiles and Q&A in Safety Pin Box each month. And for those people that don't know, each month we actually put profiles of the Black women being who received Black women being gifts that month in our boxes. And so they get to learn a little bit about the women that were recipients that month. And we have a series of questions we ask them, which is pretty funny. They have the best answers. They're so hilarious. Anyways.
Oh, I remember the first box. My homie out of Portland, who's no longer in Portland right now, said white people need to get out of the way, and like subscribers were like, "Whoa!" We're like, "What do I do?" It was great.
I think my favorite was Elle said, "Stop voting," and I about fell out. I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Okay, anyway, so shout out to Elle Hearns, whose birthday was this week. Happy birthday, Elle. Okay, so now that Safety Pin Box is about 6 months in, I'd love to know how Safety Pin Box leadership, Marissa, Leslie, Paige, and Asa, would answer those questions. I'm especially curious, what one thing you wish Safety Pin Box subscribers would stop doing? I already gave an answer to that. And one thing you wish Safety Pin Box subscribers would start doing. Much love, respect, and gratitude. So, I already said the thing that I think I would like them to stop doing. If there was one thing I would say I like them to start doing, is really talking a little bit more about their experience with other people and on social media and in conversations, because I think that's something that it's difficult for us to communicate because it's not our experience, right? We can talk about the content, we can talk about our intent with it, we can talk about what we're trying to build, and we can talk about the goals of that we have as a company with Black Women Being. But as far as the experience of being a Safety Pin Box subscriber, y'all are the only ones that can express that. And so for me, that would be the one thing I would hope or want them to do more of. So that's my answers for that. What you got?
I'll keep mine short. We give a word count for folks on our show. One thing I would wish subscribers would stop doing is making excuses. Because I know y'all are just working through your shit, but there's just like a lot of excuses. For white people in general, just stop. Just push through. Start doing. Like I said, I feel like it would be interesting / really effective for people to think about what would it look like to attach social consequences to white supremacy in your life and in your circles. Like, y'all are kind of just like being like, somebody posted something racist on my page, like, how do I tell them it was wrong? That's like cute and all, but I'm curious to know, will white supremacy get somebody uninvited to the cookout? And
it's interesting too, because white supremacy has gotten me uninvited to so many cookouts.
Hello.
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 I had a long post yesterday that I posted about how many white friends of mine that abandoned me and my husband when I started doing this work because I made them uncomfortable in my Blackness and in the fact that I wasn't going to be silent about, what was going on. And I mentioned I was doing quote unquote respectable organizing for quite a number of years before the Ferguson uprising. And then Ferguson happened and I was like, oh, hell no. This is some other shit and I'm done with the bullshit and we're going to really talk about this stuff for real now. And it was like, I just watched them all just like fall and fade away with no conversation, no nothing. So, we as marginalized people have to bear the social consequences of white supremacy all the time. Yeah. And it's really interesting that you said that because it just put me in mind of how the opposite is. It happens so often. And when I posted that, so many Black people were like, oh my God, that happened to me. That happened to me. That happened to me. I mean, you were saying like, yep, this is totally what happened, So.
You know what's worse is that a lot of those people will come back years later asking for penance or restitution. I've had so many people who did not show up for me in the moment, who distanced themselves, who dropped off of me, who months, years later, oh man, I really should have been there for you. It's too late. Like, thanks for nothing. So it's like people know they're dead wrong. And there are social consequences and we just have to eat it. So I think that's the real question is, okay, you're fighting against white supremacy, cool, but where are those boundaries with who you let around your kids, who you let around your family, who you have relationships with, right? Is white supremacy a deal breaker in the same way for you that other social, I know people who wouldn't be friends with Christians, because they don't want their kids being in Seattle because they don't want their kids feeling pressured into religion or whatever, and all those things are legitimate, or wouldn't be friends with people of other organized faiths. Where does white supremacy, sit on that, sit in there for you in terms of who you have? And one thing that people really need to question is what's the line? At what line do you drop people? At what line are they not your friends? And if you don't have a line, then there's no consequences. You can talk till the cows come home, and hopefully your friends change. But if you're allowing white supremacy indefinitely to live and exist in your life, you're not really serious about this in general.
I think you're next.
Cool.
Only have
outside of following up, calling in.
Just keep going, girl.
The individual afterward. Are there useful things that white folks can do to lessen the harm done to Black folks by the sudden eruption of white tears during conversations around race? Ooh, wait, hold it. Let me keep reading. Especially at public forums, film screenings, panels, anything in the moment that can turn the conversation back to the actual topic that's being discussed instead of audience members' white fragility. Thank you so much for your thoughts. I got one. If you're in a public space, you need to shut that white person down and embarrass the fuck out of them in front of everybody until they sit down. Like, I've been in Q&As where white people will just go on and on and on. I think that's a totally acceptable place for white folks to either stand up or yell or shout. Like, you need to sit down and listen. You're being rude. Don't do that shit. Sit down. Boo. Any of that. That's my recommendation. If you're like on social media and people start posting some fuck shit, I'll do this if this happens on my social media with people posting stuff that's harmful to identities that I don't hold. Just fucking delete it. And if people and for white folks, you may want to take that to the DMs and talk to them about it, but it's not a democracy. Your comment don't get to say. Mind you, I've done this with family members. You know what I mean? Like,
I could do it yesterday.
Yeah, listen, if you're posting something homophobic on my page, we're not going to have a public debate about it. That's not a thing that's happening. I'm going to swiftly delete you. We're going to have a conversation about it if you're in my inner circle. If I don't really talk to you very much anyways, you're just going to get blocked. Or if you refuse to stop doing that behavior, you're going to get blocked.
All that. I don't have much to add to that. I don't know how to
boo people like Betsy DeVos. I'm a fan of booing.
Oh, keep booing. I will boo you on a train. I will boo you on the plane. I will boo you in the air. I'll boo you everywhere. Anyway, so yeah, I think that, I mean, that's a good intervention point. And then You know, I know when I'm on stage and that those kinds of things happen, like I tend to just be like, are you serious? Like I will actually say those words, are you serious right now? And so that's a good time for to chime in like, yeah, are you serious? Do that. And also the other thing that really gets me is when it's open for Q&A and a white person will stand up and have no question at all and just want to expound for 3 minutes. And I find it helpful to just scream, what's your question? When they start doing that.
Yes.
Get to the question. Do that. Okay, that's my suggestion on that.
I mean, there's so many variations you can do on that. Like when I was in high school, you know, you're watching a basketball game and somebody gets, or a football game and somebody gets put out and the whole crowd goes left, right, sit down. When they go sit down on the bench, that's a great one. Yelling, sit down, wrap it up. You might even want a bullhorn for these. No, I'm just kidding. They're very dramatic, but like really just, it's part of making it socially taboo that so many times white folks will just be like, we were all so uncomfortable. White folks will come up to you afterwards and be like, we were all so uncomfortable about that. But none of them did or said anything. They just fucking sat there just like, and in that time, they're already, a lot of times what's happening to me in Q&As is like that person's being fucked up. And so now I'm like yelling at them. I got to have a strong and angry response because I have to defend myself. But hypothetically, like this has never happened in real life. Well, barely, but not really. If a white person was able to stand up and take that space of the angry person just long enough to shut that person up, then I would be able to come in there more calmly or reasonably because then I wouldn't, you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't have to be like standing my ground in the same way. So that's kind of, it may sound extreme when we're like embarrass the fuck out of that person or yell sit down or some shit like that or whatever. But in that circumstance, as long as you're not dragging it out to be performative, and you know that's a very thin line, it can actually be really helpful for white folks to look like the angry ones. So that way when everything's over, those white folks are coming in and accosting you instead of the black women. Hopefully that was on stage.
Yes. Next question is the easy one. Can we pre-order small safety pin box flyers / note cards similar to the ones included in the physical box to hang up in our communities? I often overhear white people talking about race in my local coffee shop, and it would be great to have a small flyer / note card to pass on to them. No, you can't order them, but what we will be making available is a downloadable file that you can print them yourself. So that's coming very soon, and we'll be sure to include it in emails and also in the Pin Collective. So be on the lookout for that. It's coming very soon. We're doing a lot of stuff to the website. In case you hadn't noticed, this will be one of the things that's getting added.
Okay, I think a service provider for her hashtag Black Girl Magic and helping me out quite a bit mentioned I knew of a hashtag. She said she'd go home and look it up. But now I think it wasn't my place, and maybe I made her uncomfortable, and that this was a white woman microaggression for her. I'm glad she'll see the hashtag, but I think that's my white savior complex showing, or maybe performative allyship. Is there a way to share things we're learning, especially young Black women, in a brief interaction, or is it always out of place to do that outside of relationships? I do this for other white women all the time, share things like this briefly.
Don't come up to me thanking me for my Black Girl Magic. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah, that's really awkward.
That's just weird. I mean, I don't thank anybody else for theirs.
Yeah, that's weird. Don't do that.
I would just say that. Don't do that.
Yeah, but I would say in terms of like telling people about what you're learning or sharing information, you don't have to feel like you can't tell somebody about something that you're excited about or that you heard about because they're Black. Like that's weird. But it's in how you do it. Like if you're, which is again a very fine line, but if you're doing it like, look at this thing I know, or like if there's pressure, right? Like you need to go look at this thing versus just being like, oh yeah, I saw this thing, like you check it out if you want, being really casual about it. I don't know. That's kind of my experience of it. The times that I felt really uncomfortable are when white people are like, you have to look at this thing because it was really impactful for them. They assume that it's going to be impactful for me. And I'm just like,
This can't be real. Donald Trump just launched a subscription box, Marissa.
Leslie, stop.
I'm not joking. It's called the Big League Box at $69 a month. Anyways, I'm going to keep moving on because that just sounds like the shit I've ever heard in my life.
Big League?
The Big
That's
League
not,
Box.
That's not real. $69.
$69 a month. Quote, a hand-picked bundle of exclusive and vintage official Toupee Fiasco merchandise delivered to your door every month as a recurring donor. Good night.
Like the Donald Trump?
Yes, the one that lives allegedly on Pennsylvania Avenue currently, that one. Anyways. Who knows? I don't even know what to say. It just popped up. I was like, wait a minute.
This nigga really called it Big League?
Big League Box.
I thought you said
Can you imagine? Oh, that would have been hilarious. You know, that would have been a good box, though, right there.
Big League.
Big League.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Okay, now that makes sense. The Big League piece, I was confused. Big League. Oh, that makes sense because he's a crony. He's just trying to profit off of this.
Obviously, he's been trying to do it. I'm just laughing that it's a subscription box. I can't even. Anyways.
It's the wave, man.
Laughing so hard. Oh.
Okay, but seriously, what happens when, like, you haven't shown up home and your neighbors see your racist ass Bigley box? I feel like I would just be trashing your shit. Like,
I would just, if I was a mailman, I know it's fraud, but I would just throw them in the trash. Be like, what?
Be like, oh, it fell off of
what
the
happened?
truck. They all fell.
What happened?
They all fell.
Oh my goodness.
And then I backed up to go pick them up and I ran over everything.
All of them. I don't know what happened. It was very big league.
Listen, a lot of mail gets lost. Come on, mail people. A lot gets lost. You can do it.
How do we talk? I don't even know. There's no segue here, so I'm just going to keep going. How do we talk or get out of conversations with Black people who disagree with what we're learning? I've met a few who push hard on budgeting and personal responsibility.
I think that's budgeting.
Oh, budgeting. Sorry, budgeting and personal responsibility, and shut down any convo about systemic racism. It feels very different than a similar convo with a white person. Is it emotional violence to continue the conversation about the system? I guess my first question would just be like, is this person going to, is your interaction with this person going to affect any marginalized people beneficially? Like if it's just to have a conversation, I don't know what the purpose of it is. Like when we talk about your interventions with white people, the goal is to have you move them to the same types of actions that you're doing, right? To be less harmful. So I don't know what the context would be for you having that same kind of conversation with a Black person. Of course, it's going to be different. So that's just the first thing that leapt out to me about that.
Yeah, and Black people, I think me and Leslie have talked about this together one-on-one, but Black people are all on their own path to understanding their own, like every adult Black person that I know is still trying to figure out their race shit. And a lot of us who are out here, you know, doing political work, we came from very different, much more conservative leanings. Like we were all socialized with white supremacy and stuff like that. So we're all going to be in different places. I have Black family members who, when I started getting radicalized during the Ferguson uprising, thought I was out of it, thought that I was being over the top, all kinds of stuff. And then when Philando died, then those same, over a year later, almost 2 years later, those same family members called me and were like, I feel what you were feeling 2 years ago and I didn't get it. And like, I'm really upset now. Can you help me through this? Right? Like, and every Black person I know has different points of conversion or, you know, whatever. And some people, Clarence Thomas, actually, never mind. He just voted with libs. So some people may never get there. So I think that's each Black person's journey, and you have to leave that be where it is. Like Black folks have to work through their own stuff too. Like we are racialized to put white people first and to believe white ideology as well. And that stuff doesn't just go away. Mm-hmm. We have to work on it ourselves to unpack it. And white people are not a part of that process, except for if white people are so harmful to us that we finally give up those ideals.
Right. And I guess like my only thing that as far as like pushing back, I just would ask the person like, where's the harm in me giving some of my wealth to Black women doing great work? Like if a Black person actually has an argument for that, like I don't know what it could be. Like Why do you care? And where's the harm? And that should pretty much stop the conversation. All I'm doing is giving some resources to Black women doing great work. Yeah. It's pretty non-radical when you really think about it, although to hear other people tell it, it's the most radical thing in the world. Mm-hmm. Last question. It's a good one, too.
If you're willing, would you comment about TV viewing habits and conversations? Specifically, for example, right now, The Bachelorette has its first Black Bachelorette/Bachelor. If you've been following me on Facebook, you know I live Facebook these #Black Bachelorette. Is it useful to watch and or talk about this season?
I'm going to be honest. I'm super nervous about this season. It's so early that we haven't gotten to any of the moments that I'm concerned about. I just don't like even the notion of America dissecting the dating decisions of a Black woman make me physically, like my stomach starts to churn a little bit. I don't even watch The Bachelor or The Bachelorette. I've literally never watched an episode ever, but I'm watching this season.
But if there's a Black Bachelorette, then all Black women are
all Black women are going to watch it because that's how we are. We ride for each other. So here I am out here watching this. So I don't know if it's for conversation. I mean, I talk a lot about TV on my podcast and on plenty of other podcasts as well. I'm always on podcasts doing, TV reviews. I consume a lot of content. It's one of my favorite things to do, although I think people are usually surprised by that because they think all I do is talk about race and racism.
That's so depressing.
I know, right? Can you imagine that life? Oh my gosh. No. So for me, I think that the ways I think have been really useful is that pop culture conversations can have really amazing effects in real life, right? People can have conversations in abstract about concepts through pop culture that can lead them to revelations about their own interactions in the real world. And so for me, that's where there's a lot of like generative, really great stuff to dig into. Like right now there's a show, I think it's on Stars called American Gods. I don't know if people are watching it, but it's kind of has this like theological approach to things, but there's a lot of nuance to it. There's some race issues. There's a lot of things in it. And so to me, like having conversations about that show has been really fruitful with lots of different people to talk about what they see in it and what I see in it and how we relate to it and the stuff that we see in the real world. So I think that pop culture, television, movies, all of that stuff is ripe for useful commentary in the real world. So that's my take on that. And I'm not going to talk about anything except for that we are going to Geek Girl Con this year. When I say we, me and Marissa and Safety Pin Box. So if you're planning on going to that.
False.
What?
That's not, it's going to be the whole crew.
Oh, yeah, the whole crew's going. Asa, Paige, all four of us will be there. It's going to be a glorious thing. So check it out, Geek Girl Con. And shout out to Wendy, who's doing their PR, and she does our marketing for us as well. But I'm excited to go to an event like that to talk about allyship in the context of some of these pop culture and fandom contexts where people may be, I think it would be a little more open space, right? Because there are people talking about some abstract concepts already. And I'm excited to see kind of what that feels like, what that room will be like. We're going to do a workshop and everything. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah. I think it's also interesting, Rod, shout out to Rod and Karen from the Black Guy Who Tips.
Shout out.
Perpetual shout outs to them. If you don't know who they are, go look them up right now. They're amazing. Follow them.
Best podcast ever. So good.
Give them money.
Give them everything.
Do all the things.
They're the best.
They're talking about this in terms of comics. It's really interesting. Art and fandom and TV and stories we tell shine a light on how deep and insidious white supremacy is, because we see this with the current Star Trek movie, right? It's imaginary. Like there's fake creatures and aliens, and yet if you have a world where Black people are in power, right, or white supremacy doesn't exist, or where America's not the good guy, right? People say this isn't right. This isn't how it should be. Rod and Karen were specifically discussing the cancellation of these like Black Lives Matter type series or the Black Panther series, that they're not selling as well as some of the other series, and that white racists were really upset that, America was being portrayed in a negative light by them having things that happen in the world, like, police shootings and things like that. And it really does push people, because Now you're not even talking about the real world. You know, like white people will believe in freaking avatars and centurions and stuff like that, but can't believe in a world where white supremacy doesn't exist, like won't allow it. And so there's a lot of good questions to ask there. The second thing that I would add that Leslie didn't say is you should just make a point to watch any and everything by Black content creators, especially Black women, to give them the views, give them the money, because a lot of times Black women content creator stuff isn't getting viewed or isn't getting the type of shine that it does. So if Ava comes out with a new movie, if Issa watches something new, you better go watch it, pay for it, subscribe to it, share it, love it, get your friends to watch it, because you consuming that media is what allows them to stay. True. Because the second that they don't sell, they'll be gone.
Gone. And actually, one of the reasons why I'm even watching The Bachelorette, because the thing I really didn't want was it to be, oh, well, look, we had the first Black Bachelor.
It had horrible ratings.
And nobody watched it. So that's the other reason why I'm throwing my hat in and just sticking with it. And I didn't really like
got canceled. You know, and people are pushing for it to be stepped up.
Pick up somewhere, please pick it up. I mean, I don't understand. Zoo got renewed, but Underground didn't. I'm just trying to figure this out.
Yeah, I even watched all of Zoo, and Zoo is not very good.
It's terrible. Who's watching? And you're watching it. I'm watching it. It's all your fault, Marissa.
I also watched Sense8, and it's not very good. But
I like Sense8. There's some value there. I think there's some good commentary on that show. Zoo, not so much.
It's half orgies.
I'm here for orgies. What's wrong with orgies?
How many times can it?
As many times. Look,
it's like it's not contextualized. It's just like random scene will be like somebody wakes up brushing their teeth, and then people are having sex. And you're like, but where was the connection? It's like Game of Thrones, kind of like that, where you just got like ass and titties just to have ass and titties out. It's like, okay, y'all, I'm cool with sex scenes, but can we put a little narrative context?
Just a smidge. Okay, so there's a little question. We had some questions came through while we were talking. So I'm going to run through those really quick, and then we'll finish up. Here we go. First one is, here's a question. I want to start supporting artists via Patreon. Do you have any recommendations for Black women or women of color to support on Patreon? Absolutely. I'll mention first Sharonda J. Brown. You can get her Patreon. She has a Patreon right now that you can subscribe to. And I'll also mention Brown Girls Out Loud. So those are the two that I would just stick out. Also, if you just follow, don't friend. I'm going to mention that again. Follow, do not friend me, but you can follow me. I pretty much on any given day share at least 5 direct links for you to support Black women, because I get the links all day.
Do you have a Patreon?
Oh, yeah. Didi Delgado also has a Patreon. You can subscribe to hers too.
And this isn't directly a Black woman, but Black gender queer people, Black women editor, dope people who do dope writing. We sing their praises. Race Bader, the work that Race Bader does is really important. And they're often having conversations that nobody else is willing to talk about. Hari is an excellent editor. Ariel Newton is over there, excellent editor. I've written for them. There's some exceptional pieces. Some of the pieces that have really just impacted our subscribers the most or taught them the most came from Race Bader. That piece of white people have no place in the Black Revolution that y'all are all still muling, that came from Race Bader. So go and support Race Bader so that they can fund and support their writers.
Absolutely. Okay, next question. Let's see if there's any more. D'Angelo wants to know, is he your favorite subscriber or not? I'll take that as a nah, so we'll keep pushing. Sorry, D'Angelo, I tried for you. Don't blame the messenger.
I'm trying to think if I have a favorite. I don't ever give white people any points. Like even my friends, they be hoping they're like, oh, maybe Marissa will just be like, and I'm like, no, I just have a lot of critiques.
Good, huh? Just a lot of critiques.
I can't affirm you. I don't have any space to affirm white people.
We can't stand for all of that stuff. So we're too busy standing for Black girls. So that's what we do.
Like I said on my Facebook yesterday, my heart's too small. I don't have room. I don't have room in my heart. I know that's like a popular opinion, but
I'm dying.
Call me the Grinch.
Yes. Y'all hurry up and end racism so Marissa's heart can grow 3 times bigger. It'll be awesome.
I'll hold my breath.
In real time. All right, I think that's it for this month's Ally Q&A. We went a little long. There was a lot of questions. Again, all the stuff we mentioned at the top of the show. Tomorrow is your last day to subscribe and get our Break Every Chains box. Go to or to upgrade to it to get all 3 of the tasks. They're really amazing tasks of tackling the prison system. So definitely check that out. Also, Safety Pin Box Kids you can buy right now on our website. And we just started selling the very limited, only 10 slots available for our group content, the SPB Boot Camp. So check that out. And we're coming your way. We're coming your way in Charlotte in August and in Houston and Seattle in September. It's going to be very exciting.
And Leslie, tell the people what they should do if they want us to come to their city or they want SPB Live to come to their city. What should they send us?
What should they send us? Money?
Well, I mean, you should send us a proposal with a budget. If you got a budget.
Send us a proposal with a budget. Yes, we have, I'll say very briefly that there's going to be kind of 2 different kinds of SPB Live stuff that's going on. One is going to be where people will just buy tickets and they'll come see us and you can, bask in the ambiance and all of that stuff. And then we will be doing specific workshops that will come to your group, your church, your company, your whatever, and we'll come and we'll do some one-on-one, very direct work with you. We have
for adults and kids.
Yes, for both. So check us out. We're very excited. Paige is going to be working on a lot of that stuff, and we're so excited about it. And I think that's it.
That's it.
Bye, everybody.